Hi everyone. Right, I've been cooped up all day in the office on my own with Simon, and so I just thought, right, it's time we did some Pilates. So I'm going to do a basic, bog standard Pilates class, about half an hour, and if we keep the light. Okay, so here we go. Of course, let's set up. So feet together, turn your toes out at 10 to 2, lift your heels behind. The difference is I'm keeping my shoes on because I'm outside. So heels are behind. These aren't your hips. These bony bits here, the pointy bits, they're your hips. And if you look now, Mother Nature is very clever. Turn your feet out at 10 to 2, lift your heels behind, and look at that. My knees are right above my feet, which are right below my hips, all in line. My neck is lengthened. Look at me grow from here, pulling the middle to here. If you look from side on, I'm not lifting my chin. I'm not dipping my chin. What I'm doing is lifting right from the middle. Take your shoulders down and back. You want your neutral spine. Put your hands on your hips, tip your bum out, curl it under. Tip your bum out, pelvic tilt. Now make that rocking motion smaller and smaller and smaller until you stop in the middle. And there's your neutral spine. You still have an arch here, but a small one. You still have a bit of a lump here, but a small one. And you still have a curve here, but a small one. That is the most economical way to stay upright, using the least amount of muscle power without falling into a heap and stacking your vertebrae on top of each other beautifully. Okay, now we need to lift the pelvic floor. That's inside. Starts here, goes underneath. It's like a hammock with holes in. And you need to learn how to lift it up. I did a whole workout on that on a previous video. So lift the pelvic floor all the way up inside, lower it halfway down, and then a little bit more, so it's 30%. That's where you need to leave it. Now you need to engage your core. Quickest way to engage your core, put your hands on your belly and cough. If, when you did it, your hands went, then that is completely the opposite to engaging your core. Now try it again and bring it in. And that is engaging your core the simplest way. So that has us perfectly set up. If you're new to this, just keep breathing. If you are a seasoned Pilates professional, remember that you breathe through your ribs. So you inhale for 4 through your nose and exhale for 4 through your mouth. If you find yourself holding your breath, you're working too hard. You must keep the breathing going, which in itself is very relaxing in these blooming stressful times we've got going on now. So now you're set up, so let's do all the exercises like that, but I'm just going to mobilize first. I'm stepping off the mat so I can actually move. We're going to mobilize the neck. So inhale to prepare. Exhale, turn the face to one side. Inhale back. Exhale to the other side. All the movements are an inhale to move and an exhale to move. We're just mobilizing the body, ready for the exercises we're going to do. Now look up to the ceiling, the sky. Gosh, it's nice to be outside. Now with your nose, draw a small circle. Now every exercise I ask you to do, I want you to do a small one first, so small range of movement, and as long as that doesn't hurt, you can go as big as you like. If you immediately go into a whew, you're going to hurt yourself. If you've got an injury, you need to look after it. You don't go into pain, you go up to pain. And it might be a little bit uncomfortable if you're injured, but you don't force it at all. Change direction, small, and then big. Okay, so now my neck is nicely mobilised. I'm going to move to the shoulders. Imagine you have a pencil here and a pencil here. Draw a small circle with the pencil. Doesn't hurt, go bigger. Doesn't hurt, go bigger. So now I'm drawing a very big circle with the pencils. Change direction, small and large. Keeping the core engaged, keeping the pelvic floor lifted, keeping the neck lengthened, keeping the neutral spine, so none of this. Okay, my shoulders feel nice, so now I'm going to do a circle with both arms. Now, we talked about bingo wings like yesterday. So bingo wings, if I've got my arm relaxed, see my bingo wing flapping? If I have my arm strong or active, then no bingo wing. Okay, so we have our small circles, no pain, right, let's go bigger. No pain, go as big as you like. Remembering to keep your neutral spine. So no sticking your bum out, keep it neutral, keep the core engaged, keep the floor engaged. Okay, change direction, small first. Can you hear the birds? Nice to be outside. Let's try a bit of proprioception, shall we? One arm forward, one arm backwards. Amazing how many people can't do this. It's all about the brain rather than the arms. And change direction. That needs some practice, doesn't it? Now, the best one here for stretching your chest. If you've been sat at your desk all day or driving the car all day, you've shrunk these muscles and stretched these. Now we're going to straighten them out. Everything is shoulder height. So in other words, not down here, all shoulder height. And some diagonals. Do this with me, it's brilliant. And even if you only do the warm-up and leave the rest of the exercises, I don't mind at all. Right, let's move down the body to the waist and the hips. So if you want to keep your balance, maybe take your feet slightly wider apart. Just swirl your hips round so everything else stays the same. You've still got your neutral spine, pelvic floor lifted, neck lengthened, shoulders down and back. So if you've been gardening or scrubbing floors, heaven forbid, then this, just before you start trying to move, you know when you get up and you're a bit, this is really good for you. And if you have a bad back, we used to be sent to bed for 6 weeks, now we're told to keep moving. And if you have a bad back, this might be your moving. Doesn't matter how much you do or how little you do, as long as you do it. Nobody can do it for you. Physiotherapy is a prescription. If you want it to work, you have to take the prescription, i.e. do the exercises. Change direction, small, and then big. Keeping that core engaged. You want to, when you get to this bit here, you want to go, but keep it engaged. Right, did that hurt at all? Did it hurt anywhere around your back? If it did, carry on doing the same thing but smaller. If it didn't hurt, now we can leave these here and take the top half around the bottom half. Small first, small, small, small. And again, as long as it didn't hurt, you can go as low as you like. Everybody's different, so you have to do your workout. Now we're going to change direction, but of course we do a small one first, and then you can do a big one. So I'm just mobilising all the joints in my back and my hips, and I'm also getting a nice little tug on the inside of the thighs. Not much, just a bit. Okay, now here's the tricky bit. We want to open up the hips and warm them up. I think it's going to be difficult on the grass to balance. So I'll take my arms out to the side, point one foot forward, and then take that leg round in a semicircle. Yep, it's really hard to balance on the grass. If you're finding it easy, which I'm clearly not, you can put your hands here. And if you're finding it really easy, you can put your hands here. But please notice, I'm not lifting my hip, I'm keeping it down there. I'm just mobilising it. Now swing front to back, just gently, no gymnastics. Now lift the knee, turn it out. In, up. Try and hold your balance. Out. Okay, let's change sides. Point the toe forward. Turn around. Oh, I'm good at this one. So anybody that knows me well knows this is the leg I broke. So I'm much better on this leg normally. But actually it's quite difficult on the grass. Okay. Front to back. So I know you get to see my dog Cuba a lot, but here's my cat, Henry. Oh dear, I'm not good today. That's it. And now, bend the knee, turn it out, turn it in, turn it out, turn it in. Now I did a 5-minute stretch the other day. Oh, here's Cuba. And here it is now. We do this. Inhale, exhale down into awkward chair. Just a mini one, and back up. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, inhale, exhale. So I'm going a little bit lower each time, making sure your knees stay forward, not turning in, definitely not turning out. And the other mistake, common mistake, is when people lean forward, because all you're doing then is stretching your back. But if you stay upright, you're stretching your calves and your bum, which we haven't mobilised yet. Now take your feet at 10 to 2. Ensure your knees go over your toes. Inhale, prayer position, down. Push through the heels as you come back up. Inhale, prayer. And the last one, we can go as low as we like. And when you get to the bottom, you can rock side to side. And hands to the floor, straightening the legs, rebuilding the spine. There we go. So now we're mobilised, we're going to do some of the exercises. We're going to do some press-ups, not many, but we're going to use the mobilisation of the spine exercise as well. So you inhale, drop your chin. Exhale, take the hands down, down towards the floor. When you need to, bend your knees, touch the floor, walk out, take your hands wide apart. Imagine a line in between your thumbs, keeping that flat back, neutral spine. Take the chest to that line in between your thumbs. Feels weird, but what a lot of people want to do is this. And actually that's not really doing anything. So you take your chest down, bracing your core, back up, curl the toes under, straighten the legs to mild tension, hands on the thighs, wind your way back up. So there's your beginner's presser. I know some of you who've been coming to me for a long time can go a little bit further than that. So for starters, you can try and touch the floor with straight legs. So I've still got my legs straight, but I never ever go into pain. Then you walk your hands out, put your knees on the floor, go a little bit further and make a ski slope. So now instead of a box, we're in a ski slope, and now we do our press up here and back up. Notice you don't dip your spine, and then you rebuild your spine. And again, some of you can stay at that level, and some of you can go up a level. So if you want to make it more difficult, you keep your flat back and you go all the way down and all the way up. Definitely no dipping of the spine. That's really, really bad for you. Okay, so now you have all your options. You choose which one you're going to do. And if you want to, you could do 2 press-ups instead of 1. So we go 1, and all the way back up. Okay, stick with me. You do your press-up, you do your exercise. Nobody can do it for you. And if you find you're tiring now and you're only doing press-ups like this, please put your knees down and do a proper one here instead. It's no good doing half a press-up. It's better to do one good one than 10 bad ones. So the last one, we're going to stay down on our front. Two press-ups. And then into child pose. So you put your knees to the floor, sit on your heels and stretch the arms out. If you keep the elbows off the floor, you're getting a really good stretch in the shoulders. So we're now going to do an exercise for the back, the whole back. If you come into a box position, please note that your knees are right above, underneath your hips, and your wrists are underneath your shoulders. Have a little trial first, and my neck is lengthened, so I'm looking at the floor just in front of me. Lift one arm without moving anything else, as high as you can, and hopefully up to your ears. Bring it back down. Notice the shift of the weight as you lift the other arm. So you can't see from where you are any change in my body, but I feel the weight shifting. Now take one leg out, and we're not lifting the hip. You know, we're not trying to get up here. We're trying to be stretched that way. So my hips still stay flat. And now shift the weight onto the other one. Again, you shouldn't see any movement here. So you can carry on doing that, one arm, one leg, one leg. But a lot of you have been coming to me for a long time, and what we do is we do the one arm and the opposite leg. We call it Superman. And down. And gently swap sides. And down. So if you want to, you can carry on doing that. Or you can take it up a notch, as long as you do it in good form without cheating. Now we stay here and we pulse. Pulsing isn't throwing your legs up and down. It's a pulse up, pulse down. Pull under control. Notice I'm not dipping my back, keeping my back flat. And change sides. Still breathing in for 4, out for 4. And the same the other side. Same again. But if you just want to do this, that's fine. Don't worry about it, we do this. As long as you do the same on both sides. So we can pulse, 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 pulse. Down, same the other side. Okay, have a breather by going back into child pose. Now we're going to do another kind of same exercise for the same part of the back, but we're going to now make the core work harder. So we're going into our Superman, and then we bring the elbow in and the knee in, squeeze and back out. If you want to, you can carry on doing this, one arm, one leg, one leg. Otherwise, we're doing this now. And if you want to do 5 on one side, that is more difficult than swapping sides each time. Okay, we'll do 5 on the other side. So you're being stretched from front to back, squeezed in the middle. Okay, and back into child pose. We have to do some on the side, of course. So I'm sticking my bum on the back edge of my mat, And I'm sticking my shoulder on the back edge of the mat and my hips and my knees. So I now know I'm in a straight line. My hips are not leaning forward or backwards, straight up to the sky. You can put your hand here for balance. You can rest your head. First of all, imagine you've got a candle under here. So instead of flopping into the mat, you're just trying to lift your waist up slightly. Flex your feet. So this is a pointy foot, this is flexed. Flex your feet and then raise slowly on the out breath without turning your toe to the sky. If you turn your toe to the sky, you're using your thigh muscle and your hip flexors. Well, we use those all day for walking. So we specifically want to use these muscles. So you keep your foot facing that way. Notice the speed. So I'm not flinging my leg up or blinging it. I'm bringing it up, bringing it down. If you want to make it more difficult, you can take this hand and put it on your thigh, because you then have to work harder to balance without falling over. And you can also put your hand here if you like. Makes it even harder. I hope you can still see me, it's going dark. Okay, this time we're going to hold at the top and pulse for 10. Are you still engaging your core, your floor? Neck should be relaxed. And down. 10 more. 2, 3. Hands are getting cold. 8, 9, last one, stay there, and 10 pulses. Getting hard now. Brilliant, well done. Now we're going to do the inner thigh. So if you bring this knee forward and drop it to the floor, same position, lift and lower. Now I see a lot of people flinging it up. That's not actually doing you any good. You take it up. So what I say is you bring it up, not fling it up. 3, 4, 5, 6. Rest anytime you need to. 8, 9, 10. Stay there. 10, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 slow ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest if you need to. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Guess what? We're staying up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well done. Right, we need to do the other side. You can just roll over, but I need to just turn around, otherwise I'm ignoring you. Look at my bum, which isn't pleasant. So I'm just going to turn over, setting myself up. Make sure I've got that little candle under there, all the way up, straight up to the ceiling, feet flexed, core engaged, top leg. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, you can take this here. 5, or here. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Staying there for 10. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and down. 10 slow again. 1, 2. Isn't it gorgeous tonight? 7, 8, 9, and guess what? Here we are. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's much harder on that side for me. Okay, bring the knee forward and then drop it to the floor. Now your inner thighs working. Keep the foot flexed. Everything else stays the same. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hands cold. 6, 7, I don't even know if you can still see me. It's going dark around me. Staying there for 10. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Slow. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and up we stay for 10. Brilliant. So we've done the side, we've done the back. Now we're going to do one for the tummy, of course, because that's what Pilates, people think it's for the core. It is for the core, but it's also for a lot of other things. So the hardest exercise, I think, for the core is the 100. Lots of levels, so don't worry. Setting up the body for the 100. Necks lengthen, shoulders are down and back. You need a neutral spine. Arch your back and then squeeze down. Arch your back, squeeze down. Now, that same rocking movement, stop halfway. And in actual fact, if you put your hands in a diamond and put them on top of your pelvis, you want to make sure that they are parallel with the sky. So in other words, that's not parallel, that's not parallel, that is. There's your neutral spine. I also want to talk about imprinting the spine. If you stick your thumbs on your ribs, fingertips on your hips, now you want to slightly bring your ribs down to your hips, not the other way. We're not trying to pelvic tilt. You leave your hips where they are and bring your ribs down. What that does, it switches your six-pack on, which you might need. So the 100, let's take one leg to tabletop. Here's tabletop. I've got my knee straight up to the sky, bent at 90 degrees. So this isn't tabletop, this is cheating. You need to keep your knee out there. Now replace it to the floor. Now take the other knee. So while you're doing this, one knee, then the other knee, just check if your back is coming off the floor at all. If it's rising off the floor, even a centimetre, even a millimetre, then the exercise is actually too hard, and just go back to just taking one leg a tiny bit off the floor, tiny bit off the floor. But I think nearly everybody will be doing this now. So tabletop, tabletop. Let's try taking it up a notch if you want to. So imprint the spine, one leg to tabletop, join it with the other. Everything's hip distance apart. Arms are down by your side. Bring your head and shoulders up. Check your knees are all in alignment. And we beat the arms 100 times. So you inhale for 4, exhale for 4. Now this is where I'm not going to be able to talk to you and count. So I've no idea how many I'm doing, but you know. So for some of you, that's going to be too difficult, in which case, do one leg at a time. Do 10, making sure this stays down. And then 10 on the other side. Or, if this is too easy, you can take your heels towards the sky and do it here. It's a vigorous arm movement. I've got my arms active and strong. I've got my back squeezed down to the floor. So I completely lost count, as I do. Anytime you need to rest, hug your knees into your chest and come back into it. So it's your 100. If you try a 100 that's too difficult for you, your back is going to come off the floor and you're going to hurt your back instead of making it stronger. And you're not actually then working your core. So you're only doing it right if you've got your back eased down, imprinted into the floor. So after you've done 100, pull your knees into your chest. Roll around, give yourself a massage. I do realise it's going a bit dark, you probably can't see me anymore. So we're just going to stretch off now. Okay, we need to stretch the sides. So if you cross your legs, put your elbows on your knees and just ease your knees open, then you're stretching your hips that you've been using. Take one arm out to the side, other arm up into the air. And stretch over. And hold and breathe. Never force the stretches. If you start to shake in a stretch, you're overdoing it. Bring your breathing rate back down. swap the legs over. Knees down towards the floor. One arm out to the side, other arm up. Stretch and over. You're just going to stretch around the middle into your box position. So this is a cat stretch where you're taking your back up towards the sky, looking at your thighs. Back into box, cow stretch. Box, cat stretch. Box, cow. One more time. Cat, cow. Okay, we curl the toes under. Take all the weight over the heels and then straighten the legs to mild tension. So you've got equal weight between each hand and each foot. Prance through the feet. So I'm stretching my shoulders now. It's as though somebody's pressing me here. Both heels high, both heels low. Walking the hands back towards the heels, bending your legs if you need to. And all the way up to standing. And you're done. Thank you very much. I've stopped now because basically I don't think you can see me anymore. But we'll come back and do some more. And if you have any special requests, let me know. If you have any injuries you would like me to give you some exercises for, let me know. And I'll probably see you tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.